Okay. Good morning, everybody. Today we're gonna go through Etobicoke G2 route test. This is one of many of the route tests that we're gonna go for, and we will start from any of the parking lots, essentially with the numbers on it, and then you can kind of go from there. Okay. Now, before you ideally want to make sure you get out, before we get out, we want to make sure both sides are very clear. You don't want to be moving while people are about to go, as that could lead into examiners failing you just because of the other people are getting in. Okay. So very first thing that we're gonna do here is make a left turn from the drive test route all the way up to this intersection. This, my friends, are a three-way intersection. Well, it's a four-way, but there's the three stop signs here. You gotta make sure you look to your right side, to your left side, and there is a stop sign underneath where I am. Somebody drove over the stop sign, but there is a stop sign here. All cars that are going towards in your direction, so the people coming up from the main roads inside the drive test center, don't actually have a stop sign. So you got to make sure that, keep in mind, they have the right of way over everybody else. Now, as I go straight through here, your very first thing that the examiner is going to go for is make a right turn on this stop sign. Now, when you make a right turn here, you want to make sure you're turning or stopping right on the sign. This is actually going to give you enough space to kind of look to your left and see what's going on. And then again, just make sure both lanes are clear before you make the right turn. Take it as it is, but it is, make sure both lanes are empty. You're now at Eglinton main roads. This is where you're going to be going for. This area is a speed of 60 kilometers. Just make sure you're at 60 or slightly under. You never really want to go over that speed limit. Now, the examiners will tell you to make a left on the second traffic light. We just passed the first one. This right here is your second one. So as long as it's clear, make that lane change. Again, don't forget the sequence is at signal, check mirrors, blind spot, proceed when it is clear. Do not forget that. Right as soon as you're making that one, you have to make a left turn here again. Do the exact same thing for that lane change. As you get through here, obviously, you can't make it. Do not force it. When you're stopped at a traffic light like this, it's nice to just move your head around. Make sure the examiners are looking, and then make sure the examiners knows that you're looking around. When the light turns green, we're gonna roll right into the middle of the intersection. There's a car in front of us. I don't know what he was doing, but we are not to go until he goes. Right of way. As soon as it's clear, just make sure you take it as simple as it is. Now, you are now at a single lanes. Essentially, this is an area where you're gonna go at a speed of 50. Quick tip for this area is double lanes are 60, single lanes are 50. Big stop signs, make sure you make your full stop. Then the examiners will then proceed to tell you to make a left turn on the traffic lights. The traffic light is coming up ahead. Now, because we're making a left turn, we want to make sure we signal early. Here's your lane that you gotta get into, so you're checking mirrors, blind spot, and then you just kind of hug the yellow line. You're spacing in front of the car. Make sure you want to be able to see the tires and the floor touching. Anything too close than that essentially might cost you some points from examiners. And as you make this left turn, it's fairly clear, but make sure you check both sides before you go. It's again, we want to show examiners that we know what we're doing. You're now at a speed of 60 because this is a double lane, so make sure you get up to your 60. Now, by default standard, you need to make a lane change to the right side. So again, signal, mirror, blind spot. Make sure you make that lane change because it's mandatory for what you're gonna go for. You're gonna make a right turn on this traffic light. Take it as simple as it is. There is a bike lane here. It is not required that you don't touch it, so you can kind of just get in, make sure you get through that. It doesn't have to be in the lane. Again, you're at a single lane. You're at speed of 50. Right in here, you're gonna make a left turn on that blue rental sign. Once you're close enough, we're gonna signal. Again, proceed to make sure you check your mirrors, blind spots, and get in nicely. Now, this is an intersection for you to go through. There is no stop sign. However, again, make sure you're checking both sides as you get in. Now, on the drive test, generally you'll be doing your parking at the drive test center. But if there is a parked vehicle over here, they might make you parallel park around here. So just keep that in mind. Now, once you're getting here, they're going to ask you to pull over to the right. And when it is safe to do so, they might ask you to do a 3-point turn, or might ask you to do uphill or downhill parking. At this point, we're just going to do downhill parking, which is turn your wheels all the way to the right, park the car, park and brake up, and then you're done. Which then the examiner will then proceed to tell you when you're ready. Keep going. So then again, park and brake out, put it in drive. You are to signal to the left. Check your left side. Make sure it's clear before we go. And then we're gonna move into a straight line. Now the examiner might tell you again to pull over to the right, which again you signal. Pull over to the right as close as best as you can. And then the examiner will then tell you to make a 3-point turn. This area is big enough to do a U-turn, but the examiner asks you to do a 3-point turn, so make sure you are doing a 3-point turn. So 3-point turn, make sure you stop, you do your signal, you go as close as you can to the left lane. Again, we don't necessarily need to get too close here because this is big enough. Reverse the car, signal to the right, turn to the right. Again, we don't need to go as far as back because again, it's a big space. Put in drive, signal back to the left side while making sure all lanes are clear. You're gonna make a right turn on this stop sign. Now, this is not an always stop sign, so we're gonna stop right on the sign, and there is no line. So just stop on the sign. You're gonna roll up slowly, look to your left. This area doesn't have a lot of cars, so you don't necessarily need to wait for it, but just make sure you move up, roll, check, and then before you go. Again, you're at a single lane, which is a speed of 50, so make sure you follow that speed. You're gonna make a right turn on the traffic lights. You're gonna signal to the right. You're gonna stay in your lane. To your right is a bike lane. You are not to get in there. Everybody says otherwise, but do not go in there. If at any point in time another vehicle goes in there while you're stopped at your lane, let them go. If you try to go in, you will fail. Once it's clear, make sure both lanes are done and proceed to make the right turn as soon as you can. You're again going in to make a left turn on the first traffic light. So, as soon as you can, make a lane change signal, mirror, blind spot, while maintaining consistent speed. Once you are ready, again, here's the traffic light, which we're going to make a left turn on. You're going to signal to the left, check your mirrors, get in, and then slow down a little bit. We're not stopping, we're just slowing down to make sure we get into the middle, we do your check, and then we proceed. This is not a rush test. This is about how good your driving is during the test. It's not how fast you can do the whole thing. You're in a single lane, speed of 50. This is practically the end of it. You're now making your way back to the drive test. We're gonna go straight to this traffic light, and you are to make a left turn on the first available left turn, which is going right into the parking lot, into Tim Hortons. Now, as soon as you make a left turn here, cautions. We are approaching the highest failure rate of this point. This is where most of my client, or most of where I find my client failing. It is not because you don't know what you're doing. It is because of the people that you're going to be driving with. This particular area is full of Uber drivers and people going in and out of Timmy's. So again, we want to make sure you're cautiously driving through here. If you see a pedestrian crossing, if you have to slow down or stop, feel free. Here's a prime example. We gotta let her go. Alright, and we want to make sure we give her enough space. Okay, as we go through, we're cautious of the guy. Just because they're on the road does not mean they're not gonna turn around. I've had people fail because of those. As we're making your turn, making our way back, depending on the drive test examiners, if you've done your parallel park first, you are done. You are going to park in one of this area. If you have not done your parallel parking, you will now proceed into parallel parking. If you see a guy like this on your drive test, you are not to go around until the examiner tells you what to do. We can't just go around random people. Obviously, we're gonna go around this guy. Here is your parallel parking. You are to take the front pylon as the back of the vehicle, and you are to take this back pylon as the front of the other vehicle. If you've been paying attention to my channel, you're gonna see that what I teach parallel parking is fairly straightforward. You are to line up back to back. You're gonna turn all the way to the right side until you get to roughly 45 degrees, which is roughly right around here. Then you are proceeding to straighten the wheels until you get closer with the curb, which is around this area. And then you make your way all the way back to the left. This will then get you as close as you can. You don't need to be really close. You don't need to do anything else. You are just gonna parking brake. Once you got, you get out. Again, proceed to make sure you check. And then they're gonna ask you to just park anywhere that is available. Just kind of wait until the examiner tells you what to do, and then we can kind of proceed from there. Okay, that is it for your first route. We were now proceeding to second route.